hanging out with Duke basketball player Kyle Filipowski. Kyle, you're joining us on behalf of Great Clips. We'll get to that because, hair is important, especially as we get ready for the NCAA tournament. But I want to talk to you about basketball first. And I'm interested to get your perspective. Different sport, I know, but Nick Saban's been all over the news talking about name, image, likeness, which really hit me knowing I was about to talk to you. And part of that is name, image, likeness. So as an athlete that's living in this world, how would you respond to so many coaches right now that are saying name, image, likeness is bad for college sports?
Yeah, I mean, I actually just saw something briefly about Coach Saban saying that today, but I mean, obviously he has a lot more experience in the college world than almost any other coach, and obviously everyone has different opinions or perspectives and whatnot, and it's hard to disagree with a all-time great coach like that, but I mean, in terms of the athlete's perspective, I think it provides a lot of new opportunities for us. It gives us more financial freedom, especially with kids coming from all over different backgrounds and different places. And it still provides that ability for us student athletes to follow our passions if that is still in college and pursuing towards a degree or something rather than not not and trying to leave early to get money to take care of friends or family. So I obviously everyone has a different perspective and everyone's going through something different, but for me I think it's been great.
In a real moment here, because I think everybody sitting in front of a microphone tries to make it like every athlete right now is only worried about the money. You're in that world. Like, how big a deal is all of that when you're figuring out where you want to go and what your future looks like?
Yeah, I mean, especially, I know my life, it's very hectic and, a lot of traveling, there's a lot of stuff I didn't think I would I would need money for just for my day-to-day life and just, having a little bit more of that has definitely helped me for sure. But, also being able to partner with specific brands in which, I've aligned my values with and I'm interested in, I think that I have the ability to express my personality off the court more and connect with people just outside of what I'm perceived as a basketball player.
So let's talk about your personality for a second. I was talking to Jay Williams yesterday. You know him, I know him, great guy, right? But one thing we talked about was you, because everybody has an opinion about Duke basketball players all the time. And obviously you were in the news this year. Do you feel like there's a different magnifying glass that comes with playing at Duke?
I do for sure. I think that if I went to any other school, I would not be portrayed in the light I'm being portrayed in right now. Just because I do go to Duke, but I mean, like I said, we hang out off the court. I'm a very friendly, loving guy. Just great, kind person. But obviously having the spotlight shown down in games and wearing Duke across my chest that adds a little bit of a different taste in people's mouths.
So you're telling me you're not, because let's be honest, Duke always seems to have like the villain. Everybody wants to go after the villain. Kyle, I feel like you just don't strike me as the villain type, brother. Like, it's just, you seem way too nice to be the bad guy in the movie. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've obviously Duke has a long history of the villain, the stereotypes like myself. But like I said, it's hard to try to be that when I'm not really like that in real life.
Now, I do think anytime anybody talks to you right now, court storming comes up. We all know that. My past was as a musician, and one thing I've talked about a lot is like standing on stage can be a really scary thing because you don't know kind of what security is going to feel like. And court storming to me is an issue, but you're the one that's like living it. So how would you solve the problem?
I mean, obviously there's growing up as a fan, I totally love court storming just because, I feel like it did bring a, special meaning behind college basketball. And, that's part of what college basketball was about. But obviously as a player and going through what I did, I do feel like there still needs to be more regulations and safer rules for the players before, any college kid can just do whatever they feel like they can do just because their team won. So, I think there's just a fine line that needs to be drawn. Obviously, just taking it away, that would cause of upsetness all across the nation. But I mean, I definitely feel like schools can do a much better job than what they're doing right now if court storming is still a thing.
Has there been a different level of pressure on Duke basketball to sort of restart as a franchise post Coach K in your mind?
I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I think Coach Shire has done a great job with the transition, and I mean, I've just seen the growth from him from year two compared to year one, and he's been doing a great job. Obviously, there was all this commotion about Duke falling off and not being the same and stuff, but we had a really successful year last year. We're doing really good this year. There's the future's looking super bright. There's nothing to be worried about from our view.
It's funny because you mentioned drop off, and that only speaks to the standard that Duke has had, right? Like, let's be real. The expectations for every program aren't the same. The expectations at Duke is that you're going to win a national championship every year. Is it daunting when you come in, even now, you're in your second year too, but as you evolve into all of this at Duke, do you ever look around and just feel like, man, when is what we're doing right now enough?
Yeah, I mean, last year winning the ACC tournament, it was a great feeling for sure. And, obviously, I'm sure other schools too. That's the highlight of their season as well. But there was still a part of us that felt like we weren't done yet, and obviously that's the national championship, and that's what we're really eyeing for this year as well, along with the ACC tournament championship too. But yeah, just having that expectation for ourselves. I mean, holding ourselves to that highest standard. It isn't like any other school, and obviously that can put a lot of pressure on us players, but I think it just makes us more prepared, more hungry for reaching the ultimate challenge every year.
So, what are you excited the most about going into this year's NCAA tournament for you, for the team, for any of it?
Just the opportunity to go to Arizona and win the national championship. Obviously, I think that's everyone's goal, of course, but just being through it last year and knowing that how important every game is, and having the right mindset going into every game, no matter what. That other team's just out there to try to beat you, and you got to do whatever you can to win.
How does that experience from last year sort of help you prep for this year?
It helps a lot. I obviously it's much more physical, because every team is so desperate to win, because if you lose, then your season's over. And just knowing that, it's going to be more of a dogfight than you think. Maybe there are some things that refs would usually call in a regular season game that they're not in the tournament, just because of the excitement and the position we're all in. And so just being prepared for, you know, anything like that to come, it's going to be, one crazy experience again.
Well, one thing we know is that you'll be prepared with the looks, right? The hair's going to be on point. You're joining us on behalf of Great Clips. Tell me a little bit of what you guys are up to.
Yeah, so we're doing this campaign where, obviously March Madness and winning and making it to the national championship, it's all about doing the small things right. So just great clips in their campaign with the rights versus wrongs. Like for an instance, what's right is watching the game from the stands, in my opinion, not going out on the court. But but no, it's just going on the Great Clips app and having a chance to win tickets to the Final Four for 2025. That's a great opportunity, and just being able to promote that and making myself feel good and helping myself play good with the haircut too is always a bonus.
How often we stepping in there to get that haircut? Like, are we an every 2 week guy? Are we every like few days guy? What are we doing here?
Growing up, I was more of like a 1 month guy, but especially with how often I'm playing on TV, I'm more of a 2-3 week guy now.
See, that's what happens. You start doing this TV stuff, and all of a sudden you got to keep it clean all the time. Like, I'm an every 10-day guy, but as you get older, the more you need it cut, the more I think that's the better, right? Like, then you're like, hey, my hair still looks good. Like, everything's good. This is awesome because obviously you have a chance to be in Phoenix. You get to control your destiny. But everybody hanging out with great clips can win a chance to be in Phoenix, which is a really cool once in a lifetime opportunity. So that's awesome. I'm sure. Who has the best hair in the locker room other than you? Who has the best hair in the locker room?
Other than me, I would I would probably say it's Tyrese Proctor. I think he is good style hair.
Well, one thing we know is you guys are going to look great. You guys are going to play great. Congrats on a great season. I know it's been a controversial season for you. I'll say this. You know what? If I get to keep writing the movies, we'll recast this thing. We'll make you the hero that's like the villain turns into the hero. Everybody loves it, man. I appreciate your time. Thanks for hanging out with me.
Thank you so much, Jason. I appreciate that.